How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Army of Darkness, Ashes to Ashes. This is a 4-issue miniseries put out by Dynamite Comics and is only the second thing in Omnibus number 1. The first thing was the movie adaptation, so this story is the first original story in this set, and I have to say it has some really interesting ideas in it. In this story, the wizard comes forward in time and tells Ash he's messed up his time travel. Looks like he's arrived before the events of Evil Dead 2, and now Ash has to go to the cabin and make sure that his past self actually goes through that time portal, or the events of Army of Darkness will never happen. And of course, in the cabin is a very scared and confused other Ash, so maybe this title is supposed to be read with a comma. Ashes to Ashes. Yeah, we get a cool fight sequence between the two Ashes, we get some fun Evil Dead 2 stuff, but of course Ash has a second goal. Not only does he have to send his past self through the time portal, but he has to get the Necronomicon and destroy it, and apparently it's like the Ring of Power from Lord of the Rings. It can only be destroyed in this ancient tomb where it was first written. So we get a bit of an adventure second half of this book. The first half is more Evil Dead 2, the second half is more Army of Darkness with skeletons and ancient tombs and stuff. Overall, this book is pretty fun, and it definitely is trying to appeal to the fans, which I can always appreciate, but there are definitely some stuff in this comic that the movie did way better. For example, the humor. Ash always has jokes and one-liners. It's one of the fun parts of the movies. However, in the comic, he comes off as a little bit quippy. There's constant jokes and not all of them land. And also the random little wacky things that happen. I mean, that happened in the movies where something random would happen and we get a fun little sequence. But here, it is so fast and so all over the place. There'll be some weird little event like Ash will fall into quicksand or something, and that whole situation is resolved in just over a page. And yeah, the artwork too has lots of things going on, and sometimes you're not sure what you're supposed to look at. Overall, this is very erratic, very fast-paced, and kind of messy. I can get what they were going for. I just wish this was a little more streamlined and a little more cleaned up, because as it stands, it kind of bounces around and loses focus. But that being said, it still is a fun book with a good idea, and to get to see Ash and the Wizard again, to get to see Ash fighting Ash, to get to see that ancient temple, and a few other fun things pop up, it overall is a good story. I just do have a few issues with it. But if you guys want to see a little bit more of it, I'll switch to the close-up camera and show you guys some of the story and the art. I'll be avoiding the end bits, so no major spoilers, but if you want a bit of a deeper dive, let's go and switch to the close-up camera. Alright, here we are inside the castle taking a closer look at Ashes to Ashes. Once again, this is inside Omnibus 1, and let's bring it closer to the camera. One thing I love about this omnibus is we have a Necronomicon face under the front cover, and in turn, the inside, when they're not comic book pages, are drawn in this sketchy style like they're drawn inside the Necronomicon. And there's the credits for this story. Ashes to Ashes, written by Andy Hartnell, illustrated by Nick Bradshaw, and it's a 4-issue story. Flip it to the cover and we get to see the chapter image is also done in the hand-drawn style. There's Ash with some deadites around him. And after that we get into the story proper. Again, I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but this is a bit of a deeper dive. We open up with Ash in S-Mart, and he is going to start to think about the events of Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. There he is going to the cabin. There's Linda getting possessed. And is this trying to imply that the camera monster is just a giant skull face or something? I don't know. But there's the time portal, and of course we go through Army of Darkness as well. And this transitions into the American ending of the movie where Ash kills one more deadite. And of course, there's his classic line. But then the comic keeps going from there, and we find that that last deadite that came through actually came through with the wizard. And the wizard explains that Ash messed up his time travel and actually actually got home a day too early. He goes to the back of the store and he sees another version of himself go out in his car with Linda. So yeah, now he has to go back to the cabin and make sure that his past self goes through that portal. There is a flashback sequence with the wizard, which shows that shortly after the events of Army of Darkness, the Deadites started to come back, and this flashback sequence really does help explain a lot of things. It's too bad it doesn't happen till issue 3, but with the Deadites surrounding him, he disappears into the future. I'm guessing what's supposed to have happened here is that Ash, when he went back, saw the second version of himself and stopped him from going to the cabin altogether, which would have prevented Evil Dead 2, and in turn, he never would have got there to save them in Army of Darkness, which is why they're all Deadites now. Yeah, a little bit confusing, but whatever, we're off to the cabin. And we do start to see the kind of rambling nature of this plot, like Ash gets an owl for a little bit for no real reason. And like, look at this page where a Deadite rabbit attacks them. We start off here, and then we get these two panels that curve back to the left, and then Ash's roll goes to the left instead of the right. I'm not sure why they did it this way. It's a weird page layout. But yeah, you get little bits like zombie animals and a zombie moonshiner, and again, a whole bunch of stuff is thrown at you really rapid fire, and that's going to continue for all 4 issues, not just the lead up to the cabin. But of course, we will eventually get to the Evil Dead 2 cabin, and again, inside is a very scared and very confused other Ash, who of course is going to immediately start fighting himself because he thinks it's some sort of trick from the book. And yeah, you gotta be careful. The one with the sleeve missing is Evil Dead 2 Ash, and the one with both sleeves and they're rolled up, that's the current Ash. So yeah, it gets a little hard to keep track of. I kind of wish he kept his motorcycle jacket on. But here's a cool double of the two of them fighting. That's pretty fun. And I won't go too much farther towards the end of the book, but again, the second objective, Ash has to go to the tomb where the Necronomicon was first written and figure out how to destroy it. There's some puzzles and wacky antics, and again, very bombastic, very energetic, and very all over the place. But yeah, I've read a few Army of Darkness comics, and for some reason this is a motif that some of them do, where halfway through they switch up and the story becomes about something completely different. Not 100% sure why that's a thing, but yeah, that started here, and I know they did it a few more times. But overall, even though it is a little disjointed, it's always great to see Ash again, and apparently this was successful enough that Dynamite would make so many Army of Darkness comics. I hope to cover more of them again very, very soon, but anyway, this was a fun one, and I know that coming up in here we have the one where he meets Reanimator. I cannot wait to get to that. Sounds really fun. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Army of Darkness / Evil Dead playlist. If you guys want to see me talk about more things kind of like this, you can click right there and see more. Anyway, have a good day. See you guys again very, very soon. Playlist here. Have a good day now.